Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, I was just listening to some videos in the aftermath of, what transpired yesterday about, the alleged $3 million contract that was offered to Danny Garcia to fight Terrence Crawford that he allegedly turned down. And things went exactly how I knew they was going to go, where you had people pulling out their PBC badges. Now, I want people to understand something. This is not an attack on Al Heyman. This is not an attack on other people. But it is basically calling out the PBC fighters and how they didn't contradict themselves. But I knew, like I said, the Aerospace Brigade was going to sit up there like getting upset and trying to pull this shit about Aerospace trying to become the A side and all this shit in the fight with Crawford. What exactly is the A side when you think about Errol Spence? Because to be honest with you, he doesn't have basically the names on his resume until he fights Mikey Garcia, a fighter that's going up 2 weight classes. And I'm just keeping it 100. Like I told you, man, a lot of people have, a lot of people are emotionally invested as far as the PBC go. Now, I want to make this very clear. I don't appreciate the fact that certain people like trying to make it look like if you attack a PBC fighter, you attacking Al Heyman, and if you attack Al Heyman, a black man, you some kind of coon. Because people trying to pull that angle too, and I'm not gonna stand for that. I'm not gonna stand for that. I'm not going to have nobody try to label me a coon, because I'm basically calling out fighters where they all are not even black, basically dodging fights. I presented the evidence flat out. I presented the evidence about Danny Garcia. I presented the evidence about Mikey Garcia. But you get these people that'll try to pull this shit and that'll cape for a certain fighter no matter what. I'm not caping for nobody. And like I said, I don't hate Crawford's guts. Like I said, I've been and moved on from that shit. I don't have no personal vendetta against Crawford or Beau Mac or none of that shit. And for people talking about, well, why is they sending contracts to Beau Mac and all that shit? Okay, so wait a minute. Back in the day when Freddie Roach used to be talking as if he's on Manny Pacquiao's management team, people didn't have a problem with it. From my knowledge, Beau Mac is part of Terrence Crawford's management team. So he has a right to speak on it. And then he works with Terrence Crawford. You don't think Terrence Crawford tells him things? Of course, Terrence Crawford got to tell him who he may fight, because guess what? Beau Mac is his trainer. He has to get him prepared for the next opponent. So, of course, he gonna know some shit. Come on, man. Stop it with that shit, man. Real talk. For real. Like I said before, I have no ties to none of these promotional companies. I have no ties to none of these fighters. Like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and bite my tongue and not call bullshit when I see it. How many lies have Shawn Porter been caught in his daddy? Oh, this is going to be the next fight. Oh, this is going to be the easiest fight to make. Well, I got to get the mandatories out the way. How many times have you heard Danny Garcia say, hey, I'll fight this dude. I ain't afraid of him. Oh, well, we decided to go another direction. Get the fuck out of here. Danny Garcia ran straight up to 147 when Terrence Crawford was knocking on the door. But then, like I said, at the same time, his daddy won't let the fight happen, but his dad loved calling black fighters out their names and shit. And the same thing. All I said was, why didn't Errol Spence walk up to Bob Arum and call his bluff and say, hey, Bob, I'm going to call you or I'm going to send you a fax, because Bob Arum was there. And then, like I said, and then the Aerospace Brigade get mad at me because that's all I'm saying. Like, for real. I need people to understand something, man. I'm not going to hold back what I have to say. You got to call bullshit, and you got to call it when you see it. You know? I already know that Bob Arum has a history of lying. But at the same time, these PBC fighters got a history of lying. Shawn Porter and his daddy got a history of lying. Danny Garcia got a history of lying and turning down fights. Okay? And after saying he wanted those fights. Okay? Because, like I said, the truth is about Errol Spence. Like I said, I love Errol Spence, but his whole persona and his whole claim to fame is just basically off this sparring session that happened with Floyd Mayweather that nobody saw, that basically been enhanced to where you got people just riding his nutsack saying, oh, well, he gave Floyd a black eye. Well, like I said before, man, so what? I mean, really? We don't even know how Floyd got the black eye. So I'm just saying, it could have came from anything. He could have accidentally got thumbed, because that's usually how you get black eyes. Okay? That's usually how you get black eyes and shit, usually from a thumb. It's very rare that you get a black eye from a punch. Because most fighters don't get hit in their eye in fights. They usually get hit in the cheek, the nose, top of the forehead, the ear. Most fighters do not get black eyes from punches. Because most fighters don't aim for the eye. So I'm just, you know, and I know some people gonna get mad when they hear this, but ask me, do I give a fuck? But that's what this has been about for the longest. About a sparring session that nobody saw. Okay? That's what I'm saying. They posted, I mean, to be honest, quiet as kept. The same thing with that other dude that's supposed to spar with Floyd. I forgot what his name was. And then Lamont Peterson. They said that Lamont Peterson supposed to have beat the shit out of Floyd in sparring. But do you really believe Lamont Peterson can beat Floyd in an actual fight? But like I said, that's where all this shit started from. Like I said, to the people that's listening to this video, man, I don't give a fuck about you getting mad. Because I'm just telling the truth. I'm being objective, and I'm calling it right down the middle and shit. And people just want me to go a certain direction and shit and support a certain fighter. And turn the other way when it comes to some bullshit that they conduct. Nah, I'm not getting down like that, and I'm not rolling like that, because I'm not built like that. Fair is fair and right is right. Like I said, if somebody, you know, if I see one of these fighters and they don't want to talk to me and shit, then you prove my point. It must be some truth to it. You know, that's just real talk. But like I told you, I done met a lot of these fighters and shit. And I told you guys, a lot of these fighters, you know, they take shit real personal and shit. And then when they see you, they don't want to talk to you. Like I said, I'm not insulting anybody. I'm not trying to put anybody down and shit. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not in no protection agency. And I'm not finna be no PBC cop. I'm not finna have my PBC badge where I just strictly don't talk bad on PBC fighters. Okay? Like I said, I got mad love for Al Haymon. And I got mad love for the fighters. Because like I said, Al Haymon is a black man just like me. But at the end of the day, Al Haymon ain't getting in the ring and throwing no punches. The blame go on these fighters. Okay? So to the dude that came on my channel talking about, well, Beau Mac ain't Terrence Crawford, man. Well, from what I heard, he is part of his team. And see, that's getting all upset and shit, man. For real, man. Stop with the nut hugging, man. Because like I said, man, depending on what happens with Terrence Crawford next fight, Terrence Crawford needs to fight a PBC fighter. He really do. But all this shit about, oh, well, he trying to fight Shawn Porter so he can be, look, man, Shawn Porter don't want to fight the dude. Shawn Porter didn't had 2 years to fight the dude, and he won't fight him. Okay? So that's just the bottom line. But this shit needed to be said, man. Like I said, I don't have no PBC badge. I don't have no top rank badge. I don't have no golden boy badge. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no main events badge. None of that shit. So, no. I'm not bodyguarding no fighter. It is what it is, man. I'm out.